A few years ago at work, I uploaded a file with a pricing typo to a public facing website. It was the kind of mistake that clients would have loved. So much so, at the time, I thought it would have cost me my job. As soon as I realized my mistake, panic immediately set in. My spine straightened and I sat stick straight in my chair. My heart pumped so strongly, I heard my blood pounding in my head. And for the next 3 minutes, there was nothing in the world that could have gotten between me and fixing that mistake. I don't think a tornado could have slowed me down. The mistake itself took all of 3 minutes to fix, but it took hours for my body to calm down. You see, the cortisol response was so strong that my hands kept shaking long after I uploaded the correct file. So there I was at my desk hours later, and work was done, nothing wrong anymore, and my body felt like there was an immediate danger. Back then, I never questioned why my body responded so violently to small mistakes. I just knew this is who I was. I was someone who got shit done because my body told me that was how things had to be to stay safe. At the time, I did not know that massive panic over a typo all originated from one terrible night when I was 16. Hi there, and welcome back to the Journey Sage. My name is Jill, and I went through MDMA assisted therapy for PTSD from childhood trauma. And I coach people now on what to do with moments like the one I just described, moments where something old completely takes over you. Going back to that work story, even if clients had seen the typo, I would not have lost my job. The mistake would have been caught, fixed, and probably no one would have remembered it by Friday. But my body didn't understand any of that. And I now know it was a PTSD response that traced back to a feeling that I had made a massive mistake when I was 16. And therefore, my body was not going to let me make more mistakes. Let me be clear. This extreme emotional and physical panic was not me just being intense. It was an outdated program my body used to protect me from making big mistakes, still running after the danger it was built for was gone. At that time, I didn't even know what PTSD was. I just knew something in me was terrified, and I couldn't tell you why it felt so big. It wasn't until years later, while I was doing my PTSD healing work with MDMA assisted psychotherapy, that I understood the feelings underneath that diagnosis. I learned that my body's immediate 5 alarm fire panic responses to pretty normal day to day life stuff were the direct result of unresolved trauma, and that I could use my body's responses as hints to trace back to heal the origin of my traumas. I used the same general 5 step process throughout my healing, and I still use it now when I feel a trigger. Additionally, since I use it with my coaching clients, I realized it would be easier if I gave them a mnemonic for the steps. So I call the process trace. I like trace because it's a reminder that we are tracing our reactions back to the origins of trauma so we can heal. Trace stands for take a moment, receive the emotion, ask where it began, connect with your younger self, and extend what was missing. Here's how my trace process could have helped during that PTSD panic response over that file with the typo. T, take a moment. Taking a moment means that when I felt my body get overwhelmed, I could have taken a moment and acknowledged that something bigger than just a typo mistake was happening. Taking a moment to stop and pause could have been the first step in stopping this emotional hijacking that lasted for hours. R, receive the emotion. Now, if I had slowed down enough to pay attention to my body and get curious about what was underneath my panic response, I would have found it wasn't really about the typo at all. It was terror. Terror that I was going to destroy my life exactly like I thought I had done at 16 because of one mistake. But back then, before I knew anything about how our bodies store trauma, I just pushed all those feelings down, ignored my body's signals, and got busy fixing any mistakes. A. Ask where this began. From there, Trace would have had me ask the most important question for healing past trauma. When have I felt this exact emotion before? And trust me, it would not have had to look long. I would have landed at a mistake I thought I made at 16 pretty quickly. C. Connect with your younger self. This is where Trace would have taken me back to 16, where I thought I had made a massive life changing mistake. I believed, with the hubris only a 16-year-old can have, that I was capable of having both of my divorced parents in my life because they loved me that much. That I could hold the relationship between them carefully enough, skillfully enough to keep them both in my life. So I allowed my father back into my life after not speaking to him for about 5 years. That misplaced confidence caused my mother to kick me out of her apartment and force me to live with my father, a domestic abuser, in another state for the next 18 months until I was old enough to get away. What I internalized as my mistake took my high school friends, it took scholarships, it took away my sense of physical safety in my own life. If I had connected with my inner 16-year-old, I would have understood she had learned that one mistake can take everything you have from you. That is what she carried forward. That is what she communicated to me by having my heart racing years later, sitting at my desk over a file with a typo that was never going to cost me anything close to what she felt her mistake had cost her. E. Extend what was missing. Now, here's the super interesting part. Memory reconsolidation is a process of updating the feelings around memories by, quite frankly, changing them. So you can extend to your younger self what they needed. Adult me could have entered that memory, stopped it after my mother slapped me, and explained to my 16-year-old self that what was happening to her had nothing to do with her. Her parents were going to parent badly. That's just who they were as people who had not healed their own trauma. If I had known the trace process then, I could have given myself relief right there at the desk. Instead, it took years and MDMA assisted psychotherapy for me to finally offer her the reassurance she needed at the time. Later than she deserved, but not too late to matter. Here's what I understand now that I did not understand while my hands were still shaking over that typo. My nervous system was not overreacting to a work error. It was still standing guard over a 16-year-old girl trying to protect her from a mistake that had already, once, taken everything from her. My nervous system never received word that adult Jill wasn't in danger over mistakes. Because let's be honest, mistakes are going to happen, but the majority of them don't burn your entire life down. So if you've ever felt a reaction rise in you that was completely out of proportion to what was in front of you and quietly wondered what was wrong with you, I want to offer you a different question. Not what's wrong with me. Instead, how old does this feel? You don't need to answer the whole question right there in the moment. You only need to notice that the size of the reaction is telling you something. It's a clue to help you trace the origin of the reaction you initially created to create protection. That is what the trace is for. I still use it when I feel triggered, and I teach it to my clients so they have a tool to use when they get triggered on an average Wednesday afternoon. So there you go. Understanding the trace process gives you the tools to heal moments of trauma in your life. And bonus, when you do that, you no longer get emotionally hijacked in the present. If this is the first time you've heard of Trace, I built a free guided tool that walks you through it step by step. It's linked below, and you can go to thejourneysage.com/trace journal entry. And then next time something activates you, you'll have a structured journal entry to help you heal the moment that keeps hijacking you. And as always, the Journey Sage website has more information about MDMA therapy for PTSD. Until next time, take care.